What we're going to do is we're going to call Mrs. Guardado to the podium.
Thank you. As I think I know most everyone in the room, my name is Kristen Guardado. Thank you for having both of us here this evening. To give you a little background about me, I was born and raised in the city of Canton. I am a graduate of Canton McKinley. I have a degree in business from the University of Akron in finance. I have my Juris Doctorate from the University of Akron School of Law. I'm married to my husband. 20 years we'll be married, and our entire married life we have resided in the city of Canton, where we still reside. I have 2 children. One is a junior at Glen Oak High School, Vincent. He's a teenager, so that's enough said, I think, about him. And Nicholas is in 8th grade. I basically spent my entire legal career protecting women and children and those who are vulnerable. I started at the Canton Law Department while I was in law school in 1994 and worked as a legal intern. In 1995, when I passed the bar, I became a prosecutor. In 1998, I wrote a grant for the state of Ohio and was awarded to be the Stark Domestic Violence Prosecutor for the Canton Municipal Court, which I've received that grant every year since. I've actually received an award from the Attorney General's Office for my advocacy in domestic violence. My grant has been highlighted several times to the federal government when the state of Ohio is asking for VAWA, Violence Against Women Act money. I also evaluate grants for the state of Ohio in domestic violence. As a domestic violence prosecutor for the Canton Municipal Court District, we work with all the police departments in the district, so it's not just the city of Canton, it's North Canton, it's Lake, it's Louisville, it's numerous departments. We are constantly advising the police, and in fact, they have my phone number, they're contacting me on the weekends, 24 hours a day. Our phone rings on the weekends, sometimes at not the most convenient times. 3 in the morning. I've left my house in the middle of the night for search warrants. I review police reports, work with the police closely in determining probable cause for making arrests. We evaluate each and every case on its merits, but that doesn't stop once someone's charged with domestic violence. We continue to review that case. We work closely with victims, the victim advocates. I sit on the Stark County Domestic Violence Collaborative. We work closely with the Domestic Violence Project. We work closely with the Stark County Department of Job and Family Services. And I would say you should support Issue 18. It's a little plug for them. I sit on the Project Care Board and was also on the Children's Services Advisory and Advocacy Council, which oversees the levy money, which is now called the Stark County Planning Committee, which I've sat on those committees also. We evaluate each and every case on its merits, and we look at what is right for the family, what is the person's history. So cases aren't done once they're charged. We're continually to work on them. Currently, as a prosecutor in the prosecutor's office, I am assigned to Polaris, which is the mental health specialized docket in the Canton Municipal Court. In 2012, I'm very proud that I started working with the head of the Canton Municipal Court's probation department to create, develop, and implement for the Canton Municipal Court its first time ever having a first-time offender diversion program for nonviolent offenders. This was implemented actually April 2014, so it's about 1 year old. And what that does is anytime someone comes in that's a possible first-time offender with a nonviolent crime, let's say a criminal damaging case, they were at a party and they broke a window, if that person would plead guilty and go into the diversion program, once they complete a certain number of things, then that case would be then dismissed and expunged. So that's a great opportunity for young people who've kind of gotten off the wrong track to get back on it. I always say with all the colleges and universities in the community, we have to remember that we're a college town now, or a college community. Also, as the senior trial counsel at the prosecutor's office, I oversee the prosecutors and work with them on their trials and kind of oversee everything. As I tell people all the time, when everything's going well, I do nothing, right? But when it goes wrong, it's my fault. So I try to make sure that I'm on top of what's going on in the office and what's all the trials and everything that everyone's working on. I've had over 40 jury trials. I've appeared in Canton Municipal Court over 1,300 times. I review each and every domestic violence case that comes through our office, every intake. I also receive every single Canton police report for domestic violence and review those. I handle a lot of the felonies that come through our court. We advise the police before charges are filed, even the felony cases, including rape and murders. We work with the police to get the search warrants, determine how they should proceed, and work closely with them. There's not a case that can come through the Canton Municipal Court in the misdemeanor level that I have not handled. From literally from someone being arrested to sentencing and post-sentencing. I've handled all of those cases. And what's interesting, that's only 75% of the court's docket. The court, 25% of that docket is civil. I've had a civil private practice since 1999. I've basically handled every facet of a civil case that would come before the court. Kind of interesting, as an attorney, I've actually sat on a jury trial that's went to all the way to a verdict, criminal case and common pleas. I have been deposed as a witness because I do a lot of guardian ad litem work, which I'll explain here in a minute. I have sat on the prosecution table for the state of Ohio. I have represented parents in permanent custody cases, which, you know, where they're losing their children permanently. I've testified in cases. So I have pretty much taken every role on in the court except for a judge, which is what I'm going for now. Also, my private practice, I do a lot of guardian ad litem work, and a guardian ad litem is someone who is appointed for the children. They're the voice for the children. I make recommendations as to custody and visitation and divorce matters. I also work on visitation and custody and make recommendations what is in the children's best interest in dependency, neglect, and abuse cases, which once again is the children's services cases that Mr. Pearson was talking about. Not only do I have all this court experience and civil experience, but I also have been elected 4 times to the Plain Local Board of Education. This is my 14th year on the Board of Education. Many people in here are some Plain Local residents, and when I came on the board in 2002, the community was very divided. We didn't even play football in our stadium. We played over at Fawcett. We were struggling to pass a bond issue. We did not have very many community partners. The schools were not highly rated. People were leaving the district looking for other opportunities for their children. As a member of the board, I believe that we worked very hard with administration, teachers, and the board to rebuild trust, to establish our identity in the community. Our school rating went from, initially when I came on the board, this wasn't the rating, there wasn't really this rating system, but eventually it was effective, and we have actually increased that to the last rating, which was excellent with distinction, which is the highest rating by the state of Ohio. We've had schools that have been recognized nationally as Blue Ribbon schools. We have developed many community partners, the Stark County Parks, the Plain Township Trustees, Mercy Medical, the universities Malone, Mount Union, Stark State. We also have a compact agreement with Jackson, North Canton, Lake, having students come to our schools to provide better opportunities for them. The Stark County District Library is the first library in the state of Ohio that has no walls, meaning we do not have a local high school library. The only library in the high school is the Stark County District Library. So our kids are going to the library, they're researching their projects at the district library, hopefully creating members of the community that will do their district library in the future. On the Board of Education, we have done all of this actually with providing an education at the top level. It's $2,300 less than the state average per pupil. We have a total budget of about $60 million, and we have over 700 employees. So how does this relate to being a municipal court judge? All of this experience in the Plain Local Board of Education translates well with the court, because we at the court have to administer a much smaller budget at $3.6 million, but it's still just as important. There's also the handling of personnel of 41 people, and I think if you talk to anyone in this room who supervises people, personnel issues are always very difficult. I personally have a passion for this community. I've lived here my whole life. I have extensive community involvement. Some of you I know from that community involvement, whether it's the Stark County Bar Association, or sitting on the trial lawyers, or the Women's Board of Development Hospital, or Project Care, which is, I sit on the board of Project Care, which provides gifts for foster children, which is, again, through the Children's Services, or the Red Cross. I have many more other community involvement, and it's a passion I believe, because I believe the better we make the community, the better it is for all of us. I have the experience in the Canton Municipal Court to hit the ground running as a judge. I have the community connections to understand the problems facing our community. I've managed public funds, worked with difficult people in conflicts, and have been a long-standing public servant. I ask for your support in my candidacy for judge at the Canton Municipal Court. Thank you.